Mm. So I'm curious, you talked about this a little bit here, but like, how do we help people whose faith it could be shattered by the Ravi scandal? Like, there's just so many people have heard his sermons or read his books or things like this. How do you recommend like going forward for people who really their faith took a big beating to see one of their spiritual heroes find out actually just to be this terrible person?
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah. Well, first I want to be clear. I don't want to be a fraud myself. And there's probably parts of me that are fraudulent, and I welcome Steve Boffman or anybody else or as well as my wife, to my best friends to help me find where I'm a fraud. But in my effort not to be a fraud, I want to be clear that when we talk about how to help others, I'm one of the others. Like I have found it profoundly painful and shattering. For me, the part that rattles me in my own walk with God and faith in Him is I was so convinced of Ravi's narrative. And I so saw Lorianne Thompson, Steve Boffman, Julie Royce as people who were enemies of what was good and wholesome. That experience of finding out that reality is inside out. Like I've been wondering, like, why am I feeling shattered in my faith? Like Ravi was just one of many apologists that meant a lot to me. I hadn't hung all my hope in him. I'm realizing that it's not so much that I feel betrayed by Ravi, but I feel so distrustful of my own capacity to discern, to believe, to trust. Like I have so much confidence in Jesus, but I've found that my own discernment is so frail and easily deceived, and that I easily believe what I want to believe. And so having grown up like loving Jesus, it brings me back to some of those doubts from years ago. That's like, okay, I love God, but are all my reasons for believing in Him stemming from the fact that I so badly want this to be true, or am I being really compelled by evidence? It's tough. And so I was chatting with Carson. He's also ex-staff from RZAM recently, and just saying, Carson, like, I feel like I'm bleeding in my faith. And one of the things he reminded me of is like Christianity isn't simply a set of doctrines to be believed. It really is about having a personal relationship with God, and where like trust is injured, even if it's not so much my trust in Him, but my own capacity to trust is broken. Again, meaningful trust takes time to repair. And so I'm trying to be patient with myself and my own healing. And I encourage others to be patient as well. One of my prayers is just like, God, like, I need you. I need you to hold my faith. I need you to repair my trust. I don't have the strength. None of us have the strength to hold on to God ourselves. So that's one. The second thing for me has been like, I've just been treasuring the letter of Philippians in the New Testament, specifically chapter 2, where it talks about the humility of Jesus. And I just read those words through and just feeling so refreshed that Jesus is not like Ravi. Like Jesus never inflated his credentials. He emptied himself of all his privilege. He emptied himself of all his fame. He didn't have to become an unattractive dude in a remote part of the earth, but he did. And the way that Amy Orr Ewing wrote a remarkable piece that I encourage everyone to see. I think it was posted by Christianity Today. And she talks about Jesus and women and the way that women were so safe with him. And so just being able to relish, to savor all the ways that Jesus is not like Ravi.
Yeah.
That has been really helpful for me. Oh, one more thing. One of the things that's been tough, one of the mottos at RZAM, some call it an unofficial motto, is pretty much official. It was our motto for our teen series reboot. It was no question off limits. And at RZAM, it wasn't real. And I have precious colleagues on who might come across this interview. It's tough to say out loud, but it wasn't real. Like, we were welcome to ask a lot of questions, but we we were not able to ask, like when I asked some questions of leadership on global staff calls that were, the only purpose was Q&A about the allegations. And people asked questions, a bunch of different questions. I was among those who asked questions that were taking the women's testimony seriously. And I got a call afterward from one of the top bosses saying, Daniel, you need to make a decision. If you want to be a pot stirrer, you don't want people to say Daniel got let go. Like if you want to be a pot stirrer, you should quit, because people respect you for quitting on conviction. But if you want to ask these kind of questions, you should leave, or you'll find yourself. He repeated himself, like, or you'll find yourself having to say you got let go. So like threatening that I'd be let go for asking questions confidentially on a, that's all to say. RZM did not take kindly to us asking questions about our big man. And Jesus isn't like that. Like when Thomas, a precious friend, when friends doubt us, it's really painful. When family question us, it can be really painful. I get defensive very easily. I'm working on it. And when Jesus' family, cousin John the Baptist, when Jesus' friend Thomas, when they question and doubt him, Jesus invites them to even closer, to look at the evidence more intimately, to even place their hands in his scars. Like, Jesus is not like Ravi. Jesus is not like RZM. Truly, no question is off limits with Jesus. And so that stuff that's ministered to my soul, I wonder if it might be helpful to others as well.